287 pound. The thing is, because when you are starting the hovercraft, if you're actually applying weight on it, the starting force is not good enough because there's not enough pressure in the steer to actually produce enough force to lift up. So when we tried an application where we actually put a battery on top of it, and it has like 40-50 pounds, the battery itself. So when we tried to launch it and we were on top of it, we couldn't launch it right away. But if we got of it and launch it with the battery, and then we get of it, right? You know what I mean? So the starting force is not it's not an issue anymore, right? Because there's nobody in, and then you go on top of it, it's all fine. So this is the main thing for this. Like 387 if you let it launch by itself.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we calculated it should lift about 387 pounds. We actually had one of my roommates weighs about 240 pounds, and he was on it no problem. As for surface limitations, ideally you'd have quite a smooth surface. It's not a huge system. The air gap that we're getting is only a centimeter or less. So anything like tile, smooth cement, smooth asphalt, would work, concrete. The carpet, it kind of gets a little caught up on that, especially with the foam bumpers. It kind of drags a little bit. But any hard, smooth surface is not a big issue. Mostly indoor.
Okay. What other shapes for the base did you consider?
There's while we were searching for it, we found square and rectangle, and I don't know, there's like lots of shapes, but all of them are really dangerous and has edges. And actually I found one really good base. It's a rectangle with smooth edges, but it really will cost us to build such a big base for the hovercraft. So we went with servo shape.
If this was not being produced for the Discovery Center and for kids to use, what would you change? What would you
honestly, probably due to budgetary constraints, not a whole lot.
That's probably not
Higher speed, yeah. It would have been nice to use a much bigger leaf blower on the back. Like I mentioned, we could have gotten one that was literally 3 times as strong for the same price. But we decided that would have been too powerful. Like this one moves along at approximately, I don't know, like a quick walk as moving down the hallway. So it would have been nice to use a bigger leaf blower. Again, if budget wasn't a huge concern and children using it wasn't a huge concern, it would have been really nice to use a very large fan on the base instead of a leaf blower. That could have provided a lot more light. We could have handled a lot more different surfaces and just got a lot more power.
Excellent, guys, and that's all of my questions.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Gu.
Yeah, thank you. We just asked a question on behalf of Dr. Gu. First question is also about the lifting power. You abstractly mentioned about something about 230 pounds, but now you talk about 387 pounds, I think, in the slides, and in the calculation the product lift capacity 311 pounds. So how do you reconcile all those statements?
Well, we counted like for our hovercraft weight itself, like around 70 pounds in there by itself. I mean, you have to put that in the calculation. So we are talking about 300 pounds in there. That's not an issue. But as I said, the starting force for the hovercraft is what's creating a problem because there's not enough pressure in the skirt to actually being able to create enough force to lift the hovercraft. But if you turn it on before you put any weight on it, just by the hovercraft weight itself, you actually talking around 300 pounds.
So basically, theoretically, it should lift 380 pounds, but we tested with around 250 pounds. So that's the low case.
Second question is, what can you change in your design to allow for the hovercraft to back up? I guess to reverse. It's depending on your directions, I guess.
Well, I mean, we could have added, if we really wanted to, we could have added an additional leaf blower on the front or another propulsion method on the front. But I mean, it's a circle. It's easy. It's very easy to just turn around and go backwards and then turn around again instead of reversing.
Because even if you do a 180 degree, that what happens is going to actually turn around, right? Because it's going to be at the side of the hovercraft. So if you put in 180 degree like this, all it's going to do is actually turn all the way around.
Yeah, so here's another related question. Would it be possible to have the hovercraft to steer in a desired direction? I guess it just any directions from the hovercraft to steer.
Well, any direction we desire, just right away. The thing is, because it's a frictionless surface, right? So almost frictionless the surface. So the thing is, if you want to change direction, there's a still force being applied in one direction. So you have to overcome that and then go to the direction you need, right? So, well, there's always going to be, you cannot always change direction right away. It's always going to be a challenge, unless, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but
as I mentioned in the recommendation section, we could have used a microcontroller to better translate user input to a desired position, because, like I mentioned, it is essentially a frictionless object. So when you're sliding along, you have momentum, and say you're going off to the right, and you want to be going off to the left. Well, if you just turn the knob, it's just going to make the hovercraft spin, and it's still going to be sliding. So it is quite a complicated calculation that the human brain has to perform. They're relying on. So we could better translate, like actually apply calculations to the input signal to better translate that into the user position. That's one way we could improve the steering.
we get to improve it. It's just that's the best we can do.
Any other questions? All right, are there any questions from the floor? Yeah, go ahead.
In terms of safety, this thing is obviously quite loud. Do you guys take into consideration any adverse effects that might have on children's hearing?
We didn't actually. They are quite loud, you're right. It might be advisable to use it with.
Could you say that again?
Very yeah, it might be fun. Just use it instead of earmuffs, or include a set of earmuffs. Just as a suggestion.
Actually, I saw a video that children is using those babies reduce the noise.
Other questions? Thank you very much, gentlemen.